All right, today we're going to be using what is technically called isometric perspective.
Good.
Isometric. But you might recognize it from a lot of different apps and things. It's usually a room that is a cube that's been cut away. So we're going to start out with drawing some cubes, just practicing. The center line is going to be straight up and down. But then the bottom is going to be angled. And the top is going to follow the exact same angle, parallel lines. Once we get to this edge, we're going straight up and down again. And then we're going to pretend there's a mirror. We're going to try to make this line and the exact opposite. Top and the bottom are the same. Parallel like railroad tracks. Up and down goes straight up and down. Kind of looks like a book at this point. So we need to add the top of the cube, and we'll add it. This line is going to be exactly the same as this line, exactly the same as this line. And I bet you can guess, this last one is going to be exactly the same as that one, exactly the same as that one. And you have yourself a cube. If you're not sure what angle this should be, you may have seen the peace sign. I'm sure you've seen that on a couple of things with tie-dye and rainbows and stuff like that. Those are your angles right there. These two lines are the ones that go on the sides of your cube. And then we have the one going up and down. So if you're ever not sure about where to put your angles, that's a little trick to figure out where they go. So this one is a cube. It's solid. We can't see it inside. This is more like a box. We can even make it a box. We'll just put a line on the top that follows these lines. There we go. It's a taped up box. We want a room. We want it to be empty. So we're going to draw this cube again, but it's going to be kind of upside down. So I'll start with that very same up and down. But instead of going up to the right, I'm going to use this one on this side. So we're going to get like an upside down letter Y. Oops, that's a little too steep of an angle. Just like that peace sign. And we already know the bottom line is going to be the same as the top line. Bottom line, same as the top line. Anything up and down goes straight up and down. And we've got a book kind of facing the other way. So to finish this off, I can't go straight across. No horizontal lines allowed. I have to take that same diagonal line, put it over there. Same diagonal line, put it over there. I'm not as perfect as a computer, but you give it your best go. You make them as parallel as you can. So now what we're looking at, which kind of looks like an upside down cube, is actually a floor, a wall, and a wall. So as a pop quiz, if I draw a door on this side of the room, I have straight up and down, straight up and down. What is the top of my door going to do? We can't go flat, right? We can't go side to side. So I have to look at the bottom, copy it to the top. Diagonal. Those are the only lines we get. Diagonal right, diagonal left, straight up and down.
It's still hard for me to make it go back. It still wants to come out at me.
But yeah, it looks like that corner's popping forward.
But I think some furniture and stuff will help.
Yeah, we can also add a little bit of a thickness on our walls. Have to follow those same diagonals.
That helps a little.
Now it's a 3D wall instead of just a plane. And what would really help it is if we put something on the floor. So let's make a big one of these so we can actually fit some stuff in. You can get a ruler if you like. I'm just going to freehand it. Same thing. Drawing that up and down line first. That same diagonal angle. Same diagonal angle. Making that diamond of a floor on the bottom. I'll run out of paper, that's okay. Anything going up and down goes straight up and down. Anytime I draw the top, it has to match the bottom. All right, so let's add a window to this room so we can get a little light and sunshine. We know the sides of the window, they'll be straight up and down, no problem. So I'll just sketch some lines straight up and down. But anytime I'm going to do the top or the bottom of something, I have to look, well, there's the bottom line, so that has to match that bottom line. And the top of the window has to match the bottom of the window. And I want to see the thickness of this window. I want to see it as a cutout. So I'm going to put a line in the corner here. Can I draw it any old way? No, I have to follow one of the diagonals. It doesn't make sense to use this one because I can't draw it that way. So I have to use the other one. Any straight up and down goes straight up and down. But the bottom, what do I do about the bottom? I have to match the bottom. So we have to make those parallel. And now we've got an opening, a window. Out there can be, I don't know, a bush or something, a tree. And next to that window, maybe there's a shelf. And a shelf is going to pop out from the wall. So I'm going to start with that same diagonal line. We used it there in the corner of the window. You can decide how deep your shelf is. But it has to attach to the wall, so I have to look at either the bottom of the wall or the top of the wall, and I have to match it. Same. Whoops, mine's going off the paper again. Then the front of the shelf needs to be the same as the back of the shelf, so that's diagonal 2. And the shelf needs a thickness, so I'm going to go straight up and down and then follow that edge. Make that the same as that. And there's our shelf popping out. But to make it really look like a shelf, something needs to be on it. So let's see, what do I have around here that I could put on a shelf? I have a cup full of paintbrushes. Of course, depending on who lives in this room, you'll have different things. But this will give us a chance to put our first ellipse, our first oval. So I'm going to try to put an oval and fill up that shelf. Don't do the kind of ovals we've been doing for teacup dragons, which are really flat. We actually want these to be a little bit rounder, almost circles. Sides of the cup, straight up and down. Can I put this kind of oval on the top? No, I have to match the bottom, exactly. We are always going to match the top with the bottom. So I need to make that nice rounded oval. You can erase out anything inside there, don't need that anymore. And because these brushes are leaning in the cup, this is one of the few. What's that?
Are we drawing?
Yeah, you can either draw or watch. This is like practice. So if you want practice, you can draw along with me. If you just want to watch, you can just watch. I'm going to start from the bottom of the cup and go through the top of the cup, and that can be my paintbrush. If you have another one leaning, you can start at the bottom here. Make a line, go up to the top. And there's another brush. And so on and so forth. Let's say there's a table in this room. How are we going to start drawing a table? Two ways to do it. You can work from the top down, or you can work from the bottom up. I like to go from the bottom up because then I know where it is on the floor. Kind of like some video games will have a grid on the floor and the grid lights up with where you're going to put your furniture. Kind of like that. So I'm going to pick out the space where I want my table to be. I'm going to say over here. And I'm going to make it a rectangle, more like a coffee table. All of these diagonal lines, they have to match those other diagonal lines. So at first it's going to look like a rectangle, a carpet, a rug. But I want my coffee table to have legs. The legs are going straight up and down. So I can just add some lines. Add some lines over here. Add some lines over here. You won't ever see the fourth leg, so I'm just going to put the 3 legs. You may have noticed the 2 on the side only get 2 lines. The 1 in the middle gets 3 lines because we have to show it on this side and on that side. Then to draw the top of my table, I have to match that diagonal. Don't just go from the top of one line to another line. You'll probably get something uneven. You have to match that bottom line. Go over. Match this bottom line and go over. At this point, I like to erase the original sketch on the floor. Get that out of the way for my tabletop. I need a thickness to my table. Is this a really chunky, like a little kid table, or is this a really thin wood table, a mirror table, glass table? I'm just going to give it a good thickness so you can see what I'm doing. Straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down. Matching those parallel lines, matching that parallel line. Erase out the lines you don't need. But we have a problem. The 2 legs on the ends look like they're made out of paper. I only have one side. So how am I supposed to get that other side? You follow the opposite diagonal. We make those little V shapes. And now our coffee table or play table or painting table has 3 visible legs. So a little pop quiz. How do you draw a vase of flowers on this table? I'll give you 5 minutes to draw a vase and some flowers. Doesn't have to be a fancy vase. It could just be like a cup. I'd do something like that. If I wanted to hang a painting on this wall, I have to follow those diagonals. Straight up and down, straight up and down. Follow the diagonals. And last but not least, what if I have a character in my room? How do I make them follow these angles while not making them look like little Lego people? We're just going to use these lines for the shoulders and the hips. So if I start with a head, here's my little character. And we're going to do a little stick man. So I do my up and down stick. But the shoulders have to follow a diagonal. So I'll follow that diagonal. Give him a little rectangle body. Let's say he's sitting on the floor. Well, then I can have his legs going out in any direction because I already have his shoulders and his hips lined up. So he can just be chilling out here. Eating a snack. It works the other way too. I'll draw an example real quick. You can move the arms and legs pretty much where you want as long as that body has an alignment to one of the diagonals. Even if somebody's laying on the ground, let's say they're laying on the ground here, I follow those diagonals. Here's the head, maybe putting their hands on, resting their head in their hands. Kicking up their feet. So you can do all kinds of poses as long as you follow a diagonal with the shoulders and with the hips. So that's our little practice. Let's go ahead and get a new piece of paper or flip your paper over. We still need to start with that basic room. So we're still going to, even on our big finish drawing here, we're going to start the same way with a line separating the walls. And a floor. If your floor goes off the page, that's okay. try to make mine fit on the page just so that I can draw all my things. Just get your floor and your 2 walls, and then we have to decide what kind of person lives here or what kind of theme this room is going to have. We've already done a plant shop with the elf. But plants are nice and easy to draw, so if you want to do more plants, that's fine too. While you're setting up your room, I'll take a look at some possible inspirations. I'll go ahead and share my screen. You may recognize some of these from Animal Crossing, but it's all about interior decoration, so it makes it a good, oh, what happened? A good place of reference.
Oh, fun.
How cute, right? And when we look at these things, we go, wow, that's so much, but everything is either straight lines, tables, or curved lines for some of the lamps and pots and things. See, the floor is all decorated with tatami mats. So that's one.
Oh, how neat.
Here's a little fancier one.
Oh, I remember that. I played that game.
Yeah. So the wall decoration, floor decoration. There's one at night. Oh, that one's not showing up as well.
Oh, so it's a hexagon. And I didn't really see the hexagon before, but
yeah,
it shows up on those.
Yeah, so that one's got like a spooky bedroom theme. There's another cute one making some soup or something. Oh, stairs. Stairs are so easy in this view.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they still have to follow all those straight lines. What's harder is things like this curved door. That's a little trickier to get. There's
how cute.
Like a library. So interior decorating, a theme. Let's stop my share here. We need some kind of theme. Let's generate some ideas. First off, let's do fancy or not fancy. Fancy is generally harder.
I was going to say not fancy for me.
So let's do a not fancy room. And do we want more square things or more circular things? Anybody can pipe up. Or if that's too vague, think of, do you want to draw more tables or just like one big table with lots of things on it?
Aaron, what do you think? You're muted, Aaron, if you're talking to us.
That's all right. I'll make a decision. Let's go ahead and do one big table. So what's going to be happening on this table? Either eating, we draw food, or making something, crafting something, painting something, some kind of hobby. We'll put hobby. I'm going to say hobby. Let's do hobby. No eating. What kind of hobby? We can figure that out later. So let's start with the walls and the floor. You notice on all those examples, none of them left them blank. They all had some kind of pattern, some kind of texture, some kind of wallpaper. So let's keep it still kind of easy and do like some striped wallpaper that maybe has a, I don't know what you call those, like partitions, like where half of it is wood and then the rest is wallpaper.
Wainscoting, is that what it is? I'm not sure.
Sure, let's call it that, wainscoting. So I'm going to give myself a guideline. That's going to be my wainscoting. If we want to make that even more impressive, we give it a thickness. So on the edge here, let me zoom in so you can see. On the edge here, let's say that we have a little curly bump, 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 bump. And it goes all the way across the room. I'm going to give some partial lines just to show where it's bumping up. And I'll give a couple of vertical lines to show that these were different panels of wood. And I'll do that on both sides. Trying to keep my lines as parallel as possible. I like to have at least one window in the room, so I'm going to add a window maybe over here. Same way we did in practice. This time I think I'll add a window sill, so just like a shelf right at the bottom of the window here. Extend that line. and put some thickness. And maybe even the panels of glass. And for the wallpaper, I'll just do some stripes. They're a little bit narrower than the wood panels. Super easy, just straight up and down, as even as I can make it. Kind of lightly because we don't know if we're going to put a mirror or something on top of this and have to erase it anyway. I'm not going to do the floor quite yet because we're going to be putting things on the floor and it might get messy, but keep in mind that we are not going to leave this floor plain. So I mentioned one big table, so I'm going to decide where in my room this one big table is. I think I'll put it just smack dab in the middle so I can fit some chairs around it. Picking a spot right on the floor. Following those diagonal lines as closely as I can. And it's the same process as that coffee table we practiced. We're just going to make the legs a little longer. So I'm going to start off with some taller lines. all about the same height, respectively. To put on the top of the table, I have to follow that diagonal line again.
Wait, please.
Yep. I'll just finish off this tabletop so you can kind of see where I'm going with it. Don't forget to give your tabletop a little thickness. Skinny shape on the side. Following those same diagonals. And now we need to pick a hobby to put on this tabletop. About jigsaw puzzles. Okay. We're gonna say it's mostly completed already. So let's sketch our jigsaw puzzle using those same diagonals. And then, since this is just practice, we're just going to put some wiggly lines. Give the idea that it's a puzzle that's been completed. It probably came in a box, so I'm going to make a little box off to the side. Doesn't have to be as big as a puzzle, of course, because all the pieces get broken apart. Maybe on top is where you can write how many pieces it is. You don't have to draw all these things. I'm just going to give you some ideas. But puzzle assembly can be thirsty work. I can put a little glass of tea or lemonade or water using those big rounded ovals. Maybe somebody brought in some mail and dropped it on the table. And then we'll need some kind of chair to go along with this table. How do I figure out where to put my chair? Again, I'm going to start on the floor. I can kind of still see my rectangle of where my table is seated on the floor or set on the floor. So the chair, I want it to cross. So I want it to be slightly underneath the table. So I'm still using my diagonals. I'm going to make a little bit of a square diamond. That's where it's going to be on the floor. And we'll start the exact same way as the table. We're going to see those 3 legs coming up. Maybe these have rounded legs. Let's make it easy. Round off the legs. And then we need the part of the chair that you sit in, and that has to be lower than the table. Has to be low enough to let somebody's legs fit under the table. And then the chair needs a back. So I'm going to draw from this leg here and just keep on going up, up, up. This one too, kind of in a curve. And I'll use my same diagonals from the bottom that I've been using this entire time to make a little rectangle back on the chair. I'll just color it in so you can see it better. And of course it needs a thickness, so I'll take up that line from the other side of the leg, go all the way up. And let's put a little area rug under our table and chair. So I'm just going to sketch out a rectangle using those same diagonals. Go around the table, around the chair. You won't see that top corner. And to make it look unmistakably like a rug, I'm going to put a little bit of fringe on the ends. Following that same diagonal. And let's get a nice house plant in here. I'm going to pick a spot on the floor and make a nice big pot, making that big rounded oval where it's touching the floor. Maybe I'll curve the sides this time just for fun. And the opening is going to be that same kind of big oval. And you can make some nice big leaves or flowers growing. You can even decorate the pot a little bit. Maybe it has a stripe around it. I'm gonna do that same kind of curve, just like the oval. Maybe that stripe is broken up into little stripes. And then going back to the floor, let's say maybe it's a hardwood floor. I just copy this same diagonal into thin stripes. It'll go right underneath the rug so we don't have to draw them too far. And I'm going to try to draw them even though. All the same size. Right across. And then to make it look not like stripes and more like wood planks, every once in a while I use this diagonal line to show where two boards are sitting next to one another, butting up against one another. And I'll just sprinkle those here and there. You can put little dots for nails if you want. I don't quite have room for a character, but maybe I can put like a cat tower in the back here and a kitty on top. We'll mix in some of our Secret Lives of Cats to our background here. So cat tree is mostly just platforms. So those are going to follow those same lines. I just have to pick a spot on the floor where I want it, maybe over here. Any lines going up or straight up. Maybe there's a little hole on the side where the cats can climb inside, crawl inside. That hole is going to be one of those rounded ovals. I'll just color it in. Maybe another hole over here. And then just like I was drawing the table, I'm going to draw some little pillars holding up the next set of platforms. And again, I'm just going to follow those diagonal lines. Follow all the lines we've already drawn, super easy. Give it a little thickness so that it doesn't look like it's made out of paper. Too fast, Aaron?
Drawing a hamster cage, right?
Oh, a hamster cage. That's a good
We
idea.
are?
Oh, do you want to? We can. I was doing a cat tower.
Oh,
But we can do a hamster cage if you prefer. I'll just continue this one up even higher. Here's where it pokes through. And I'll have one skinny platform on top. Maybe with some like dangling toys. Puffball. If my kitty's on top, we'll start just like we do in cat class. Oval, ears, eyes, nose and mouth. Little legs, body. And when you're doing these kinds of drawings, most of the time you'll draw something and then you ask yourself, where's the next space that looks the most boring? Let's put something in the boring space. Right now it's this wall. This wall is so boring. What can I put on the wall to make it look a little more interesting? I could put pictures. I could put a coat hook with a jacket hanging off of it. I could put another shelf and put some things on the shelf. All kinds of stuff. I just need something to help that wall look not so boring. Let's take a look at some of our inspirations here. Oh, there's a shelf with some items on it. I feel like the cat would jump up there and knock everything down though, so let's not do that. How about a mirror? Let's have a nice oval, those rounded ovals. And when I draw the frame of this mirror, I want to make sure that it's thicker on the left side because it's on the left wall. Skinnier on the right side and the bottom. That's going to help it look like it's really mounted on this wall and not just floating. All right, now which area looks the most boring? Maybe up at the top here, I could put like a ceiling fan. Using those diagonals. Whoop, that wasn't a diagonal. This is where computer grids really come in handy, but for my sketching phase, I usually like to get pencil and paper. That goes up into the sky. Maybe there's a lamp, little pull chain, little jewel on the bottom. Again, you don't have to copy me. These are just ideas. Maybe I'll put a little wall calendar over here. Already 6:18, so we just have about not even 10 minutes together.
Oh, hey, Bets, there's something I wanted to ask you and Kristen
Sure.
about the piece I'm working on. Man, it's a good room.
Thank you. It's getting there. I don't know about this heart rug. Maybe I'm overdoing it.
No such thing.
No such thing, right? Yeah. I think you can share your screen. I'm not doing any music.
Oh, I am sharing my screen. It's just my computer is so slow that's taking
Oh,
forever.
it takes a while. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it might be dying. It might like be unusable soon.
Oh, no.
Then you get a new one. So there's a good side to that.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Just do the one stray hair.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you think like her eyes are one thing I was trying to do is I was trying to make it so it's like she was looking, looks like she's looking into the mirror, but like looking at the horse through the mirror, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure if that's.
I could absolutely see that.
Oh, me too. Yeah, the eyes are good because they aren't clear over on the corner, but they're definitely to that side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Spot on.
I like
Also,
her
what do you think of this
shoulders too. I like it.
Thanks. Thanks. I tried to make her pose a little more lively. Albeit part of me thinks that, I don't know, maybe like the perspective of the mirror, like it's kind of like breaking my head a little, but no, I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. You could even just do it straight on. Nobody's gonna say like that can't really exist. And if they do, that's just not a person you want to listen to.
Exactly. What do they know?
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, so this is your own opinion.
Ah, okay, thanks.
Just 5 more minutes. And just so you know, you don't have to stick your room in a cube. These lines could go all the way off the edges of my paper and make an even bigger room. Or I could have a doorway into the next room. And there's another table in that room and more chairs, and all these things would all follow the same diagonals. You can even extend the room upward too. But that just about does it for today. Take down my spotlight, and if you want to share, hold it right on up to the camera and I will spotlight you for everybody. Looks like Kristen's ready. You are muted though, so I'm just gonna spotlight yours. Whoa, look at that. Nice. And your puzzle's not even done. That's pretty great.
I didn't have time to finish my puzzle. You had plenty of time.
I had plenty of time. That's right. That's right. What about Erin? Did you want to share?
Erin.
I pass.
Pass. All right. That's okay. And Mickey, you just showed us yours, so I don't know that you've done anything different in the last 2 minutes.
I'm figuring out how to draw the curtains and then also draw ducks on it while it's scrunched up. Or at least,
Ducks on the curtains. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, where it's like undulating and the pattern has to undulate with it. Yeah. I'd start with a grid. Just start with your basic contour lines, and then all the heads of the ducks will stay in the line.
Ah, okay, thank you.
Or, you look up reference that too. That's always helpful. But anyway, that was a crash course in or reminder of isometric perspective used in Lego instructions and all kinds of other games and fun stuff.
But we don't have any characters, or at least I don't
characters
stashed away that are in isometric.
That are nice about. Nah, you'd probably have to add those in secondary, but it's a nice introductory to backgrounds when you don't have to think about vanishing points and all those things. You can
although it's hard to keep all those parallel lines. I look at mine and they aren't. But they're on the right.
They're close enough. Yeah, they're believable. Alrighty, that's it for this week. See you all next time.